So I'm very happy to introduce a session around GenAI with Sébastien Respaut from Microsoft. Well, I think you've heard already throughout the day that GenAI is probably the topic of the day, is probably the topic of the month, and is probably the topic of the year. And probably also the topic of the next years. So something that is also very important is that it's probably also a topic for CEO in the next years. And for instance, what you see here on screen is that we have just released our GenAI CEO survey here. So if people want to see that, they can go to our booth to get one copy. And in that survey, we found out that actually the CEO in Luxembourg, the CEO in the financial sector, are very much seeing the opportunity of GenAI for them in the financial industry. And I know that the ABBL and CCCF have also released a survey around GenAI. Is also the same result that come out, meaning that they see a lot of opportunity. And you see here some of the number saying that for a lot of, and 80% of the CEO, it will drive significant increase in the quality of product and services, which is something that is very important. The quality of service and product and the quality of service and the products is something that resonates for the CEOs. That's one. But also they see the opportunity, obviously, for operational efficiency, and we'll see a bit later what does it mean in terms of the ability for financial institution to grasp the opportunity of GenAI in that regard. Now, nevertheless, although we are seeing that more and more financial institutions in Luxembourg are starting projects around GenAI, and also what the ABBL and the CCF have been witnesses, we see that adoption at scale of GenAI is not yet there. So it's really starting, but it's not there. So I think it's also very important to see how to get on that GenAI journey. Something that is very important, just to get a little bit of understanding. So GenAI is just an area of artificial intelligence, but there's something that is pretty unique around GenAI, which is also pretty revolutionary, is around the easy access and the user friendliness of GenAI. So it's not anymore something that is to be put in the hands of data scientists. It's something that has to be democratized for end users, and you see that. That's also why the adoption is so, it's so great and so important. Is the fact that there's, this appetite is there, but also the ease, the reach, is super easy, and we see in terms of simple operations, easy access, but also easy scaling. That's also another topic, but also simple specifications. And we'll see that a bit later. There's technology in GenAI, but there's also very much a lot of adoption, a lot of reflection vis-a-vis of how employees can embrace that technology. So it's more about that rather than really specification and development at the end of the day. But we'll come to that in a minute. So here, just few messages around GenAI and the potential to transform financial institutions. I think the first indicators is the fact that more than half of the tasks in financial sector can be to some extent affected by GenAI. It doesn't mean that half of it can be automated, but half of them can be part of that GenAI strategy. So I think that's very important. The second thing that you can see here in the graph is the fact that in the GenAI, it's not just touching a part of the bank, and here's the illustration of a bank, but it would be the same in the insurance, AWM space, or even alternative space. It's very much touching front to back. Customer acquisition, so more on the revenue side, operational efficiency there. Product and services, how to develop new type of product and services through GenAI. Risk and compliance, operations, so on that efficiency gain that we talked about. Central functions, finance functions, and even technology IT department can also embrace GenAI. So what you can see is that across the value chain of banks, as it is the case for insurance, as it is the case for alternative for AWM, across the value chain, GenAI is a topic. And that's something that is very important. And what you can see is that the potential for efficiency gain, and our survey there with Strategy N shows that more than 10 to 15% of efficiency gain can be get through GenAI. That's something that is very important, especially in an issue of competitivity in Luxembourg. And on the revenue side, we see also a potential uptake there. Voilà, so that's very much. And just in closing, before I get to Sébastien, something that is very important is that when we reflect around GenAI, we think about use cases that I could have listed hundreds of use cases in insurance, in banking, and everywhere. But I think we also need to reflect a bit differently around GenAI, what we call pattern. So in your financial institution, you need to reflect what the GenAI is for. Is it for summarization? Is it for deep retrieval of information in bulk of unstructured data information? Is it for augmentation? Is it for chatbot? Or is it for net new creation? Something that is very important to look into when you look into AI. More than the use cases, what are the type of pattern? And even combine them. So maybe turning to Sébastien now. Sébastien, there's been a lot of advance in Microsoft in GenAI. Can you give a little bit of insight about the advancement there?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Patrice. I think the past decades we changed our mission statement to empower every person and every organization to achieve more. And for doing that, we try to refoster a culture of innovation within the company. So, of course, we develop our products that you most probably already know for years. But we invest massively in our cloud, the Azure cloud. And we are also part of the early strong believer in AI and GenAI. Thanks mostly to the partnerships that we have with OpenAI, where we invest more than 10 billion the first year to make GPT-3, GPT-3.5, and so on available for most of you. And it was shown on the previous slide. We believe in this technology because it brings really business value to our customer. For any dollar invested, there is a return on $3.5 within a payback period of 14 months, which is very, very short regarding all the other transformations that we see in the past. And to enable this transformation, we are mostly focusing on three axes. One is, you probably heard about, it's what we call the co-pilot. Why co-pilot? Because we believe that human beings should remain in the driving seat and just an AI assistant is not there to take decision instead of the human. And so we developed more than 30 different co-pilots to infuse all our products with GenAI capabilities in order to increase productivity. Second axis is about bring the capabilities to our client to develop their own co-pilot, so to infuse also their business processes, their core application with generative AI. And third but not least, it's also to make sure, because we are a professional company dealing with very large organization, but also the smaller one who needs trust and also security. So it's the three main aspects. And maybe to focus more on the financial services. What we see today is four different areas of use cases. First is maybe the easiest one, is to use off-the-shelf solutions. So of course, we have the Microsoft solution, the Copilot, as I mentioned, but we have also plenty of partners like BlackRock, like Temenos, who are also infusing their own application with GenAI capabilities. So it's really very quick return on investment. Of course, there is adoption to manage, but I would say it's the first step. Then it's to go to what we call employee productivity 2.0, meaning that we are going a little bit deeper. For instance, for any contact center, we have enriched capabilities with our contact center copilots to make sure that the contact center agents have enriched information more specific to our customer and to have more an augmented AI contact center agent. For instance, we have we have Moody's who already implement the Copilot for all their employees. We have AXA on the operational excellence who already deliver their claims processes in UK thanks to GenAI, and they save more than 60% of their time to do claim management. Top of that, we have also the AI customer engagement, and one of the key references is with Zurich. They developed their own conversational chatbot focusing on banking, named Clara, that they already released beginning of this year. And it's just the beginning of the journey. And of course, there is a new offering, because we are always focusing on GenAI will reduce cost, will improve the business processes, but it's also a way to develop new products, to develop new services, and bring more value to your customer. And for this part, we are just at the beginning of the journey, but as said, there is multiple steps in between, as described on the slide.
Yeah, and I think left to right is really about from the left on the more off the shelf, as you said, and on the right more on the more innovative way to build new products and services. So in the innovation space very much.
Very quickly, we are talking always about OpenAI. Of course, it's a main known model, but Microsoft is, before everything else, it's a platform with multi-model available. So we have, of course, OpenAI, we have Hugging Face, we have also our own language model, but we have also more recently the partnership with Mistral, which is the European large language model.
Yeah, and maybe one thing that is important. So GenAI is about cloud. So how do you ensure a safe journey on GenAI with cloud Microsoft?
As you said, clearly AI is all about cloud. I mean, we invest 10 billion, as I said, with OpenAI. Now, just to give you an idea about the type of investment, currently we are investing more than 10 billion every quarter, just to make sure to match with the demand of the market regarding AI. So without cloud, we will not be able to reach this scale. And of course, as I said, we are a professional company dealing with the organization. And so for us, it's really important to understand that your data remain your data, because it will be the fuel of any GenAI model. When you will train your model, it will be an instance of a model on your own tenant, so meaning on your own environment. It will never train the foundation model. And maybe one important information that nobody knows, that we are the first security provider in the world currently, so everything we do is also fully secure for our clients.
So we are almost in the closing time of that keynote. So maybe a few things you wanted to maybe give few words on the level of adoptions, and then maybe the conclusion.
Yeah, just very quickly, there is a last survey from May, so just the last month, which indicates that already 3 employees on 4 are already using GenAI. And half of them already started 6 months ago. So there is really an acceleration. And if you just click on the next one, and what is maybe the paradox of the situation is that most of the employees are using it, while most of the leaders, even if they are convinced about the value for their business, didn't start to work on a vision, on a strategy plan regarding AI, and are more focusing on trying to materialize the business value than start using it at the end of the day. So there is like a real paradox, and that's why we believe that it was the right moment also to launch the GenAI Business Center, to make sure first to, let's say, to inform, to educate the business leader in Luxembourg to know not only the benefits, but also the risk. We try to provide an holistic approach, also tackling the compliance aspects that is most critical in Luxembourg, and to make sure that leaders are informed and then going deeper to business value, prototyping, MVP, and so on.
Yeah, it's very privileged partnership that we have, PwC and Microsoft, to bring a holistic view on GenAI, because it's about the opportunities, but also addressing the business value, the risk, the compliance, the human factor in there. So we are happy that actually yesterday we officially launched the GenAI Business Center. So do not hesitate also to reach out if you want to hear. We indeed had already a lot of immersion sessions across the various industries, and we are going to continue over the months and years to really bring that focus with companies to see how they can onboard the journey. And no matter what, and that's really the conclusion, to get into that GenAI surgery, you need to be strategic. You need to bring a governance angle to that as of day one. because it's very important in a regulated environment. You need to bring focus. Otherwise, for sure, there's so many opportunities that you may miss some. Infrastructure and the cloud and how to embark cloud with the right safeguard. And eventually, last but not least, I'm closing on that one, it's a people journey, a cultural shift, and that's something that needs to be very embraced by leadership, but also by employees, by the entire ecosystem. So really something that is very important to address also in that journey. With that, thank you, Sébastien, and thank you for listening.